So, welcome to TBS. Alright, so I'm going to tackle it. I'm going to tackle the big topic. The big kahuna. The one that no one wants to talk about. The one that people get yelled at and called incompetent for. That men and women are totally divided on this issue. And YouTube's pretty much been all about this since 2 years ago. Yes, I'm going to talk about Nicole Kessinger. Alright, I hate her. There's no getting around that, I'll say it. I hate her, I think she's a horrible person. And yes, she is involved. Yes, she pushed him to do this. And yes, she got away with it. So I would like to talk a little bit about it first. And if you don't like my ideas, that's fine. Obviously, this has really changed a lot of people, how they think about crime, because obviously the Chris Watts case is insane. It isn't the Watts family murders anymore. It's about him, because he's so bizarre. And it's a new kind of serial killer in a way, a new kind of criminal, a new kind of family annihilator. But there's one thing in this story there's a kind of person that's been around since the beginning of time. And that's the Jezebel, the harlot, the whore of Babylon. The person who, the Delilah, the person who tempts the good man to fall. Yeah, Chris Watts. So, Nikki, I'm going to call her Nikki because that's what she goes by with her quote-unquote friends. These kind of women never have real friends. And the whole narrative of her has just been one big lie, just like what Chris has done for his own self. I want to have it out here on YouTube what I believe about Nikki, because if it ever comes out what happened for real, I want everyone to say, yes, you knew what it was, because I do. To me, this is so obvious. And it's sad because a lot of people are making it really, really complicated, because it is beautifully complicated. You can think about it and talk about it forever, till the end of time. But there's only one thing that's the common denominator in the way these people have acted, and it's lying. Every single person has lied in this. Even Tammy Lee. Everyone's lied. And part of it was because of Anadarko and the Occidental merger. But part of it was because people are just... The cops have a very strange job at this point in time. The last 5 years for them, maybe the last 10 years, have been insane. And they have an ever-changing job description. Being a psychologist isn't one of them and shouldn't be. But maybe one could have been on point to help with Chris. If one had been on point to help with Nikki, maybe she would be in jail as well. And then everyone who knows she's bad would be happy. Yes, I have anger about this issue. There's nothing I can do about it. I try to temper it with some facts and things like that, but everyone knows that when you have a gut feeling about someone, and you know because you have seen people like this before and you know them, you've seen this happen over and over and over again, and they're true to type, and people try to say it's different, that she's different. No, she isn't. She actually is a bad, like, mistress type girlfriend who from the beginning tried to get him as her own and would stop at nothing until she had won. She obviously has a lot of issues. Another thing that makes me miffed is that she is not attractive. to women at all. We look at her face and we see that it's long and masculine. We see that her hair isn't styled and it isn't like interesting in any way. It's long, which is what men want. Overall, she says she works out, which is fine, but she has like very odd proportions. So to us, to women, we look at her and see her as a failed being, as someone who's failed being a woman, and who will never be happily married, will never have kids, will never have someone actually love her because she can't love anyone else. And if she ever did have a kid, the kid should be taken away from her because she's a selfish bitch. Yes, it's true. I said it. There's no other way to think of this. So let's get going with the reading. I'm really obsessed with this case. A lot of people are. And I want to talk about it just this one time freely, the way that I really feel about it. The way that I feel about Nikki and how she got away with it. So what I have here is 3 decks that I felt were dark enough to deal with this subject matter. I turned them over and just see what's in store, what's on the bottom. Kind of like what's on the bottom of all this is just like on the bottom of a stack of cards. All you have to do is turn it over and you'll see what's on the bottom. What's the foundation of all of this? So the 8 of Wands is about fighting off something that's coming at you. The 6 of Wands is about victory. The Ace of Wands is about a good idea, an invention. The 3 of Cups is about celebration. And the 5 of Cups is about regret. So if we have defense, victory, idea, celebration, and regret, those are all feelings that we could see are part of this story. But if we look at the pictures, we can see Nikki in the pictures. She liked nature and pagan things. She is thinks of herself as a comic book character nerd. She likes to tell herself she could be a mother, but she can't. She tries to seduce at all times. And she's celebrating because she got away with it. So that's just kind of what we can start with. But let's see here. I know there's lots of decks here, but we'll get down to 1 or 2 of them in a minute. The King of Cups is Chris and the High Priestess is her. Judgment is the law. Justice is the law. And the King of Wands is the FBI. So jury, judge, and FBI, and this is them. So if you see she has wings, she thinks she can get away with anything. He's like the beast behind the beauty, in love, doing whatever she wants. Judgment is the people saying this is what you deserve. Justice is weighing the balance of what should happen in this case, and the FBI are all these people trying to help, and they all have their own idea. As you see here, justice goes up and down and it tries to be balanced, but sometimes there's reasons why to that judge things cannot be balanced, and a separate narrative has to be had for things to go forward smoothly in life. Most people don't agree with that kind of thing happening, but when you get to see a big picture of a whole county or a whole town, you get to see how everything affects everyone. you start to think of the bottom line as money and economy, and you start to make decisions that way. Okay, so here's the Five of Cups again, regret, and she's yelling at poor Chris. Haha, poor Chris. And she's the Queen of Wands, charisma. She's the Five of Wands. Okay. The Two of Coins. Resting. Oh, okay, yeah. Emperor and Four of Swords again, yeah. So this is all saying that it is true. She has been given money and is allowed to live out her life with a different identity, and it's probably in a beautiful tropical area. She does not deserve this at all, and that's why everyone's so angry. She got away with it and was given a reward. Yes, it's true, she is in the witness protection program. However, she wasn't a witness, and there was no trial. And she doesn't really need to be protected from anyone. People want to kill Chris, not her. People hate her, but that's different. But I have an idea of why she was given this present. It was because Chris wanted it to happen. And it was the only way he was going to tell his story, as if she got to go free. Nine of Swords, Eight of Cups, Five of Coins, Death, ooh, and Three of Cups. Okay, so this is saying that yes, it is true. She wanted what he had. She thought he had money in the beginning, but she believed that he could inherit. She wanted a child with him. She wanted his family to be gone. She didn't care how it happened, actually. It just kind of fortuitously fell on this deathway. And she also was ready to fight for him. She knew she was in a bad place, and when she came to Anadarko, she had been in a bad place before that, because she always ruins her life, and she will again. And he had been changing, and they found each other just at the right, aka wrong time. Okay, so this is saying that she took stock of how attractive she was at Anadarko, and saw all the men and decided which one she wanted to get. She had noticed Chris from the beginning, ever since she came, and the more weight he lost and the more he worked out, and because of Thrive and also his own ambition and will, she got really, really, really interested in him and decided to test the waters and see if she could have sex with him or something at least. So she started flirting with him and studying him. And this happened about 3 months after she started working there. So about September, August of 2017. She was really inspired by and tempted to do things with him. And she used all of her feminine wiles to tell him, we're soulmates, that kind of thing. The emails had been planted, the ones that were left on the Anadarko email, what's it called? Like their service that they had. Chris and her had been together and been getting to know each other way before that. But they put fake emails up to each other to make it look like they had met earlier. And they did that at her behest because she was deciding that she wanted to be with him for real. She wanted to up the ante and make sure that if anything happened, they could cover their tracks. Yes, she was already planning that far back. He also was starting to plan about how to get rid of his family in the back of his mind because he didn't want to have the new kid for various reasons, mostly because of Nikki. But I think everyone now has realized that he's kind of like a machine. The way his mind works is like very autistic and mathematic, and so he has formulas and ways to get to places. He doesn't know how things feel exactly or how to emote, but he has base emotions that are very, very strong. And sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's lust, sometimes it's wanting to help others or work out. I mean, he isn't a criminal per se. He's a person who's not a regular person because his brain doesn't have empathy the same as other brains. And I think she saw this, and she didn't get it at first because she isn't as smart as she thinks she is. But she did see that she could use this to her advantage. If they had been together and got away with this, they would have broken up soon after because they're both completely, They're both completely immature and train wrecks. The King of Cups again. Pope. And 8 of coins. Huh. Okay, so this is just saying that she would tell him things he wanted to hear, act like a child so that he would feel in charge. Every woman has done all these things, but you either use it for good, neutral, or bad. And she decided she didn't care how she used it. That's why every woman knows what kind of person she is, and the men can't understand. They think that she should have the benefit of the doubt, but we know 100% because we're women that she's one of the bad ones, and she's so typical. But the wool's been pulled over everyone's eyes in this case about everything, so we can't be too harsh on the men not understanding this. But it's true that totally any woman would not like her. And the fact that she had quote-unquote friends is almost impossible to think. And I think that Jim was pretending to be Charlotte, because women like this do not have women friends. So she even talked about spiritual stuff. She talked about different ways they could go in life. She talked about his health. She talked about money. She talked about food. She talked about cars, things that he wanted, and a life that they could have together, and used all the different ways that women do to get him to be under the spell. Okay, so she started to get sick of dealing with Shanann because she wanted to be in control of the whole situation. And it's really funny because Chris has gone from his mother to Shanann to Nikki, and they're all the same. They're all narcissists. It's very weird. Shanann had good parts about her, and so does Cindy, really. I mean, they are family women. They do have some things going for them that makes them good. But their narcissism was a different kind, but it was blatantly obvious, and it hurt everyone around them, even the children. But as you see from Nutgate even. But Nicole's narcissism is actually just because Whatever happened to her as a child has made her think that she has to survive any way possible and that morals don't matter. So her narcissism is a bit more about sexuality and getting what she wants than controlling others, like in a family setting or anything. She just wants one man to control and then go on to the next one. A Maneater is what they're called. So this is saying that Shanann was in the balance, didn't know what would happen to her, but she eventually did fall to them, and she was ruined by what Nikki and Chris cooked up, but especially Nikki, because she was sick of her being in the way. And when she came back from North Carolina and had no intention of leaving Chris, that's when Nikki decided that they had to act and something had to happen to make her go away. When Chris went to North Carolina, perhaps they decided to kill Shanann with oxy or something like that, or a concoction. I don't know if any of that's true, because in the autopsy you can't tell any of those things. So they could have tried to do that. She felt sick, but it could have just been because she was pregnant. Romance, love, chaos, and destruction. Okay, so the lies started between themselves when they started to get scared of what was going to happen. And sexually, she was teaching him different ways to be more aggressive and ways to make ladies more happy when they had sex, because she didn't want to deal with someone who didn't know anything. But he had potential, and she was excited about that. So in between the sex, they had some fear about their future and about pulling things off, as in getting what they want. Obviously, it all came down in a tower of destruction, and the truth has been hidden. That the love Chris has for her is still very real, and it is unknown about her because she is gone. Being true to type, it means she probably has another man and is using him wherever she is. This is just like Casey Anthony, but obviously Nikki's much better at it. Casey Anthony is she's a very stupid person, and Nikki is smarter than her. Jody Arias also kept failing. Nikki keeps winning, and she got away with this, so that means she's like the best one so far in these stories, in these famous cases. Okay, so when she was talking to anyone that had to do with the police, she had a script in her mind, and she made it sound as believable as possible, and she did a great job. Both her and Chris are amazing liars. Her from the way that she has practiced, and him because that's how his brain works, and he doesn't show emotion except for the kind that he has made himself learn. So he looks perfect on the outside, but on the inside his thinking is very different and probably the opposite of what he's saying. And she kept her cool. She did everything right to make sure that she could still control him even in jail, and still make him think that everything was going to be okay at some point, that he would get out sometime. Because he's autistic, it makes total sense that he still believes. Now, what had happened was she told him, if something bad happens, I want you to protect me and make sure I don't go to jail. Say if something happens, we'll try to figure it out, but I did nothing except for help afterwards. All I did was dig the grave and get some stuff there for you. That's all I did. So please, if this doesn't work, make sure they know I didn't do anything. And he decided to be a chivalrous knight, which is insane to think about, but it was to him because he wanted her. He was serving a master. He's like a slave. And whatever she said, he would do. And whatever she wanted to be happy, then he would make it happen. And so she decided to. So when it came to the point where he could make a deal and not get the death penalty, he also told them, you have to let her go and not prosecute, and then I'll sign. And that is why his family was not told about that. They were kept out of it. It was because he was making his own special deal to protect Nicole, or Nikki, and his family would have talked him out of it. Yeah, so both of them got it. I mean, even now, he has friends in jail. And she probably has, like, people around her, men doing her bidding wherever she's living. I hope that people find out where she is and start making her life a living hell. Because she should pay for what she's done. She's killed 4 people. By being a mastermind. And it's just not right. Puppeteer. That's the partners in love and him dutifully doing her bidding. So to me, there's no question that she's the one who inspired these horrible, atrocious murders. She didn't care about the children or the wife or the grandparents or him. What she cared about was getting what she wanted. And I'm sure she got a big rush out of all of this. If you listen to or watch the interviews she had with the FBI, CBI people, she's pretty much like laughing, smiling, very gleeful. She's happy because she knows she's scot-free. She knows no matter what she says, it's going to be great for her because she already knows about the deal. And the reason why nothing was gone after otherwise is because, like, even in the house, they didn't bag anything and all that. It's because Anna Darko is in charge of all the money for Weld County. And they are like, we're starting to become part of Occidental soon. They won't take us if this is happening with our employees. I want you to tell everyone that they're former employees, not that they were employees when this happened. And I want you to make sure that our name isn't made worse. So I don't want you to have a trial. And that's what happened. So that's pretty much, I'm saying everything I think about it. I know that it may be hard to believe, but I would stake my life that I'm right about this. I really would. And if anyone wants to talk about it, we can. But I can't change your mind. Everyone has to come to their own conclusion by studying it. I've been obsessed with it for a long time, and I finally decided I needed to really decide exactly what I thought. And it took a few weeks, but this is what I've come up with. He is a psychopath because he has the traits of it. He has all the traits of a psychopath except for like 2. So he's a psychopath type 2, it's called. And He has like one or two narcissistic traits, but that's everyone usually has like two or three. Now, Nikki was never evaluated, and she kept her personality hidden for the most part. All we have is what we've seen in snippets, just like Chris. But with Chris, we've had him talking, doing letters, doing books with people. Nikki disappeared, and she took everything about her was taken off the internet of her past. I think she was doing that all along anyway, because she had been a criminal at some point. But the government did help her expunge everything and just go and have a better life somewhere else. I'm sure they hated her and they did not want to do this. But what else could be done when they wanted to save the money on a trial, and they also wanted to make sure that their county was well taken care of by Anadarko. I wish that she had never been born. I really do. Because he was happy serving Shanann as her slave. He likes to be told what to do, and that's why he's happy in prison. He's really happy there. So that's my take on all of this. If you don't agree, that's fine. But 100% I say that everything I've said is right.